The last month or so has been pretty challenging for me. If you guys have all been watching my videos, you know that I've been on this healing journey and I've had really good results so far in the last 6 months or so. And I have really simplified things and got my routine down, and just it felt kind of like a smooth sailing until I could get the healing that I have been praying for years. If you don't know my story, I've had cancer for the past 8 to 9 years now, stage 4, and there has been lots of ups and downs during my journey, but the last 6 months I would say I've received some miraculous healing. And so this video, I just kind of wanted to share with you about why it has been challenging and what my insights and revelations that I received were, how I got myself back after experiencing those challenges. And I just hope that this information will help you on your own healing journey. I think we all as humans kind of suffer through the same things. If you're like me, you will make a goal. You will have something that you want to strive for, whether it would be to improve your health or to be more spiritual or to be able to spend more time with your loved ones and live in the present moment and enjoy life. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, it always takes some sort of a commitment, a plan, a routine that you have to establish for yourself. It's like that New Year's Eve goal where everybody's like in January, they're all going to go to the gym and they have these goals to lose like 30 pounds. And then after a month, the gym completely empties out. It'll be so busy that first day. But as humans and human nature, we tend to lose sight of these goals and we tend to burn ourselves out really quick. So when I'm working with my own patients, I see the same things, is that they'll be very gung-ho about wanting to improve their health and get better and cure their diabetes and whatever health problems that they have. So they will be so motivated in the beginning, and I could just tell that next visit that they come back to see me a month later, they may get some results, and then you give it about 2 to 3 months and it's right back to the beginning where they started. So I am no exception to this. I fall prey to this all the time, even though I am super motivated, and I think I'm pretty above average when it comes to having a will and to make a goal and stick with it. And sometimes it may be to my detriment because I am a perfectionist, so I tend to be very strict and rigid with that. So in regards to what has happened, in October, I made a video where I talked about my surrender to God and obeying His voice and letting Him take the steps and to pray about everything and to stop doing things my way, to stop striving and to put all of my dependency on Him. And I have been doing that, and He's been healing me miraculously, and I've just experienced so much joy in being able to spend time with Him and to learn the things that He has revealed to me. I feel like I have grown so much in the past 6 months, and I just don't even recognize myself anymore. Or in a way, I feel like I'm kind of going back to my old self in a way, but just much better, because this time I have Jesus and I have the guidance and I have Him walking next to me, and I'm not alone anymore. So I see a glimpse of my old self coming back, that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, just full of life, full of love, full of joy. And I love that I'm coming back to that old me. But in the last month, I would say that I was also going back to some of the old tendencies that I didn't like, right? Because we have all these things about ourselves that are our tendencies and we can inherit them from our parents, or we could just build them up over our experiences in life. We have these general personality traits in our character that we tend to feel comfortable in, that we tend to go back to. It's very difficult to change yourself and to be able to just stay in that mode that is very good for you, because we don't always want to do what's good for us. We want to do what feels easy and comfortable. So I felt myself kind of slipping back into that mode a little bit. The first way I noticed that was that it was getting a little bit harder for me to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go work out. I just was laying in bed for a little bit longer. I kept hitting snooze on my alarm multiple times. And some days I would just skip the gym and would just tell myself that I'll work out later. And so I ended up getting to the point where I was working out only 3 days a week instead of the 5 days that I was working out. Every day I dreaded going to work. I just didn't really want to be there. I just felt like I have a whole day and it's going to be so stressful and it's a long day and I'm going to come home. I just didn't really feel motivated to go to work, and I would get through my days, but it would be harder to get through. Like I just didn't feel very inspired. And then at night, after taking care of my kids and doing dinner, bath time, and I would have about an hour or two to myself before I went to bed, instead of spending time in prayer and talking to God, I would just quickly go and lay down and go to sleep. So that was kind of how it felt. And I just felt like that wasn't happening before, that I had a lot more motivation. It felt a lot easier for me to be able to do my routine. And then on top of that, I did drop a few things because my personal trainer ended up moving out of the state. So I used to go there in order to do the 1 hour personal training session with her. And then I would do the sauna and cold plunge after that. But now I didn't really have any reason to go there. So then I basically stopped doing the sauna and cold plunge as well. So with that, it's kind of like everything just slowly fell off. I wasn't consistent with my mistletoe injections and I ate out more, so it's like these little things. And I just knew that that wasn't good for my health. And I slowly kind of felt it and saw it in my blood work results, where there's like these little hints. For example, there is something called the neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio that I often look at, and it's a very good marker of inflammation, and it's a marker of your response to treatments. And if it's a very high number, that's not good. You want it to be 2 or less, which is actually pretty hard to do. But I also had this other marker that I was following in my CBC, which is called the eosinophil count. This is one of the white blood cells that you can see in the CBC with differential. And for me, my response to immunotherapy was always indicated by a rise in my eosinophil count. And that's just for me personally. So I saw that happened, but lately it's been kind of trending down. And I knew that my immune system was getting used to it again, just as it was before. And I do these other things to stimulate the immune system, like the mistletoe injections. And that's why I went to sauna and cold plunge, because it's hot and cold therapy. So there's different things that I've done in the past, including supplements and other things like low dose naltrexone, to try to stimulate my immune system. I saw the labs and I saw the numbers not go in the right direction. And so I already had a feeling that I needed to go back to doing some of the things I was doing. So I felt this nudge in my gut. It's like, I call it the nudge of the Holy Spirit. And you can call it your intuition or your gut feeling, whatever it is that you want to call it. But it's this feeling that you know that something is going wrong. It's like an alarm that goes off. If you think of your house and you have that smoke alarm, and when you're cooking or something and the smoke goes up, the smoke alarm goes off. And a lot of us, sometimes we get annoyed by it, so we take out the batteries. And I've done that where I have a really small space and the smoke alarm always went off every time I cooked. And so I would just take out the batteries and I would just leave it there, right? But the problem with doing that is that you are just ignoring it. And if there really truly was a problem and that alarm didn't go off anymore, you didn't sense that alarm, then your house could burn down. And when that happens, imagine how much harder it is to save the house from burning down or to escape unscathed, right? So it's the same thing with our health. And a lot of times we have so much coming in, like bad foods and stress and lack of sleep and bad relationships, whatever it is, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Our bodies are just overwhelmed by all of these alarm signals that are going off, and we don't even know that they're there anymore because we keep pushing them down and we keep ignoring them. So this time, thankfully, I listened to that small, still voice and that nudge before it became a louder scream. And in the past, I would wait until it got a lot louder and until something detrimental happened, like if I would end up with a surgery, and then it would take me so much longer to crawl out of that hole that I put myself in. So this time I felt the nudge and I listened and I course corrected right away. And so I have been course correcting, and now today actually was the first day that I went back to the sauna and cold plunge. And it was so wonderful because I realized that it wasn't just for the physical benefits. It was the hour that I got to spend in there to spend time with God and to pray and reflect and to sit in stillness, to stretch and breathe. And I mean, it just had so much more benefits on top of the mental benefits that you get from sitting in a 40-degree water for 5 minutes. So you guys should all try it sometime. It really refreshes your mind and it just gives you this clarity and this motivation, and it's really, really awesome to do. So I am definitely going to go back at least once a week now that I have every Wednesday off. I reduce my work hours and I'm only working 4 days a week. And then that's the other thing, because I've been taking this integrative oncology course. So I feel like I have been adding stuff to my schedule that made me an added source of potential stress. But if I look at it that way, if I look at it as a source of stress, then it will be stress. But if I look at it as a learning opportunity and an opportunity for me to grow and to learn more so that I can be better for my patients, it will give me a lot more gratitude for being given the opportunity to do this. So about 2 weeks ago, as I was praying about this to God to ask Him to correct my steps and to help Him get me back on track, I came across the story of Martha and Mary in Luke chapter 10. So I'm going to read it to you guys. Now as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed Him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to His teaching. But Martha was distracted from much serving. And she went up to Him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her." So that really hit me when I read that, because I could see so much of Martha in me, the being super busy, just busybody, having a list, a to-do list to check things off, to clean the house and cook and take care of the kids. And while I'm doing that, I am forgetting what's really important. I'm forgetting about the being part, right? Because we are human beings, not human doings. And a lot of times we don't do the part that is the most important. And that part is to spend time connecting with God and to spend time connecting with our loved ones, right? I mean, we all need Marthas in the world and we all need to be Martha sometimes. But what I was convicted of is that I need to stop and just sit at his feet. I need to just be still. And sometimes it's okay that not everything is done. Sometimes it's okay to put him first as a priority, right? Because if you're just spending your day all day doing your to-do list, and then at the end of the day, you're so exhausted from all of those things that you've done, and you don't even have 5 minutes to sit there and pray or talk to God or just be still and reflect, then you're going to get burnt out really quick. And that's what I quickly realized, because I was getting burnt out because I wasn't putting God first. I wasn't spending time with him. I mean, he says, seek first his kingdom and the rest will follow. So it was a really good reminder to me to prioritize the Mary in my life. And yes, there's always time for Martha, and it's good to be diligent and to serve the Lord and to do all of the things that needs to be done to be responsible and disciplined. But I can get lost in that. And if I get lost in that, then it becomes just a chore, just another thing to do. And I'm not able to see all of those small things, all of the times that God speaks to me in his small, still voice, right? Because if sometimes we're too busy and we're not able to see things that the Lord is trying to tell us, or these little moments that we're just completely missing. It can happen with our kids or our loved ones, right? If we're just in our head and we're not really present in the moment. So the takeaway from this video is to slow down, to take those moments and prioritize your relationship with your loved ones and with God, because when you do that, you can really fill your cup with the things that will nourish you, the things that will allow you to then pour it out for other people, right? Because if you are just burning yourself out, doing all of these things, you can get very irritated and you don't really have the capacity to love others and to have that patience with them. When you are more short-fused and easily angered, because those are the times that we really are not our best selves, right? When we're not getting our rest and our sleep and we're just walking around like stress balls, and nobody wants to be around that. I just encourage all of us to remember to prioritize our life and to have both Martha and Mary in your day. But based on my interpretation of what I read in Luke chapter 10, it seems like the priority should be God first, and then everything else should follow that. The world that we live in is very high stress, and it rewards a lot of doing. So our success and our achievements are all measures of our self-worth. And I think that that is why we all strive so much to accomplish these things that other people expect us to accomplish. And that is the measure of success. But that's not what God says. It's the opposite in the kingdom, where we need to prioritize our rest and we need to sit in silence. And those are the moments that are important. And actually, a lot of times when I listen to God and I obey and I take the time out to spend with him, it makes my day so much better. And I feel like I am just completely filled and not stressed at all. And I can move through my day so much easier with a lot of gratitude for the small things especially. And I don't get easily angered, and I am a lot more patient, a lot more compassionate. It just really helps me be a whole different person. So I want to keep doing that, and I want to be the best version of myself so that I can be that around other people. Thankfully, since I have course corrected, my blood work results have looked like they're improving, and I have scans coming up next month, so we will see what it shows. But yeah, I just wanted to share that today because I think that is such an important reminder for all of us to slow way down and to appreciate the small moments and to be able to think of and see God in everything that we do because He's there and He loves us. I truly feel that if we can slow down and we can be in the present moment, it really regulates our stress response and allows us to be more resilient and to be able to get through our life much better and to heal. So that is the goal. Thank you all for being here and for watching my video and for your continued support. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to leave me a comment below, I love to read them. And I don't always respond to every single one, but I love reading your comments. And thank you so much for your support. I'll see you guys in the next video.